I'm Catherine Gill-Kressley. I go by Kate. I live in Portsmouth, just about 5 minutes from Portsmouth Hospital. I have a history of excellent health. Nothing ever happens to me.
My name is Archie McGowan. I'm one of the radiologists here in Portsmouth Hospital. Very much interested in the stroke world right now because we have some really powerful tools to affect people's lives. In the U.S., there are approximately 800,000 strokes a year. It's the number 5 cause of death in the U.S. It's the number 1 cause of disability in the U.S. And so there's a lot of opportunity here to help people live better lives.
It was an ordinary morning, following an ordinary day, an ordinary good night's sleep. There was no foreshadowing. I had just gotten up. I'm not an early riser. It was about 8 o'clock or so. And then all of a sudden, I felt like I was experiencing earthquake. I thought it was vertigo, but it was like the biggest vertigo in the world. I do remember them putting me in the ambulance, and I couldn't talk at that point, and then I just can't remember. I can't remember what happened after that.
Portsmouth Hospital. This is Fire Ambulance 2, status 2. Currently in room, conscious, breathing, very stroke-like symptoms. She has facial droop to the right side. Vital signs are stable.
When a patient arrives here in Portsmouth Regional Hospital and they have signs or symptoms of stroke, the first thing we try to do is to really leverage our diagnostic capabilities. And we have a variety of imaging methods, including CT scan of the head, CT angiogram, which is basically a CT scan of the head during the injection of IV contrast that allows us to see the blood vessels to better advantage. Sometimes we'll use MR as well, and even ultrasound. Options at that point include basically doing nothing, which is generally not a great option, using TPA, which is available within the first 3 hours. Person's symptoms don't resolve, then we'll usually go on to suction thrombectomy or catheter-directed thrombectomy with the Trevo device. And that requires a higher level of skill set than you might have at some other facilities that don't offer these services, because it's not something you can easily do at every facility. In New Hampshire today, we're the only 24/7 thrombectomy or mechanical stroke removal ready facility. And that's actually why we're very interested in trying to get the stroke patients from the local geographic area to come here where these services are available, because sometimes it's very crucial to interact early with the problem rather than late.
Among my friends and colleagues, I think that their initial reaction, if someone in their family had a big stroke, would be, "We got to get them down to Boston. We got to get them, got to get them to Boston." But if that had been the choice, I would be dead. That's all there is to it. As it turned out, I had the kind of stroke that, wasn't going to wait around an hour. It wasn't going to tolerate being stuck in Boston traffic. The rehab process, that started right then. There was PT and OT, and I do remember when, it was a big deal to stand up by myself. The staff would be there, but, I'd try to take a few steps. My balance wasn't all that hot initially.
We think about stroke as something that might happen to someone's grandparent or, to the smoker or the person with heart disease, and it certainly is that. But it can happen to young people too. Interestingly, those are the patients who we can have the biggest impact in, because these are the people that could live another 40 or 50 years with no deficit. The signs and symptoms of stroke are very much dependent on what part of the brain is involved. It may be that your right side doesn't work and you can't speak. It may be that the left side of your body doesn't work, but you can still speak fine. Your tongue may deviate, your eyes may not be able to work in a certain direction. You may lose consciousness. If you think maybe you should call the ambulance, if you're not sure, but you've asked yourself that question, call the ambulance. One of the things you don't want to do as a loved one is to hurt your family member or loved one by not giving them options early when they exist, because the options later are going to be completely different. In order to improve quality of life for the stroke patient, we need to have a system in place where we can rapidly identify these patients, get them to the appropriate level of care, and in so doing, we're going to create a group of people who have a real shot at recovery.
I'm doing very well. Returning to my normal activities, working around the house. I go to the grocery store, I cook, I garden. I get tired, I have to rest, I have to pace myself. I do have an appreciation for what could have been and what is. So I'm very grateful for that.